You're the man every woman wants, but your own wife is sneaking around with the men who envy you. Hey Reddit, call me Max38. Most people in my world know me as Big Max. I'm a coach at one of the most elite sports clubs in the state. The nickname started as a joke about my size. I'm 6 feet 5 inches, built like a wall, and hard to miss. But over the years it stuck. To outsiders, my life probably looks golden. I'm respected in my field, athletes listen when I talk, and more women than I can count have tried to get my attention. We're talking rich socialites, board trophy wives of club members, even other coaches' wives. Some straight up told me if I didn't spend time with them, they'd complain to management and try to get me fired. But none of that mattered. I always said no. Because I had Emily 33. My wife. She's tiny compared to me, 5 feet 2 inches, maybe 110 pounds on a good day. Sweet, delicate, the kind of woman I could scoop up in my arms and rock like a child. I loved it. I loved protecting her, being her giant to lean on. People joked about us being a strange pair. Big Max and his little doll. But I didn't care. I adored her. For years, I thought she adored me back. But lately, something shifted. She started teasing me in ways that cut deep. Oh, Big Max, I'm sure your admirers are waiting in line for you. Or, must be nice being everyone's hero. Too bad you're not that exciting at home. I brushed it off as insecurity. After all, she saw the women throwing themselves at me. I thought maybe she just needed reassurance. So I doubled down, more date nights, more attention, more love. What I didn't realize was that while I was guarding myself from temptation left and right, the one person I never doubted was already betraying me. And when the truth came out, it shattered everything. The night I found out still replays in my head like a bad movie. Emily told me she was going to her book club. She had her tote bag with her, gave me a kiss on the cheek, and said, "Don't wait up, babe. We're covering 2 chapters tonight." I laughed and told her not to drink too much wine with the girls. But something didn't sit right. Maybe it was the way she avoided eye contact, or how she sprayed on perfume, the kind she hadn't worn in months. My gut screamed at me. So I waited 10 minutes, got in my car, and followed her. Instead of heading toward downtown where her friend Sarah hosted those meetings, she drove to the fancy part of town near the country club. I parked a street over and watched as she pulled into the driveway of one of the board members, Richard 45. Wealthy, arrogant, always looking at me like he hated that I was more admired than he was. I crept closer and saw through the big bay window. There she was. My tiny, sweet Emily, in his lap, her legs straddling him, her blouse unbuttoned. He had his hands on her waist, sliding lower. She threw her head back and laughed, then kissed him deep, slow, the kind of kiss she hadn't given me in years. And then she said it, clear as day. "Big Max might have the body, but you know how to make me feel delicate." It felt like someone drove a spike through my chest. I staggered back to my car, heart pounding, hands shaking. For years, I'd fought off women who threatened to ruin me, women who begged to be with me. And all the while, the woman I turned to as my safe place was sneaking around with one of the very men who hated me most. When Emily came home that night, she looked flushed, glowing, the way she used to look after we first met. She set her tote bag down like nothing happened, smiled, and said, "Book club went late. We got caught up talking about characters." I couldn't hold it in. "Cut the crap, Emily," I snapped. "I followed you. I saw you at Richard's house. I saw you on his lap." Her face froze for half a second, but then she smirked. "So what, Max? You're spying on me now? That's pathetic." "Pathetic?" I shouted. "You were grinding on one of the men who would love to see me fired. And you're telling me I'm pathetic?" She crossed her arms and leaned against the counter like she was bored. "Maybe if you weren't so much, Max. So big, so intimidating, so adored by every woman who walks into that club. Do you have any idea what it feels like being married to Big Max? Always in your shadow, always the sideshow act? Richard makes me feel delicate. Like I matter. My chest tightened. I loved you, Emily. I never gave in to any of them, not one. I turned down women who threatened to ruin me because I wanted you. And this is what I get? Her eyes narrowed, voice dripping with venom. Don't make me the villain. You think you're some hero because you rejected those desperate rich women? Please. You loved the attention. You loved being worshipped. You're just mad because I finally took something for myself. It was like she twisted the knife with every word. The sweet, innocent Emily I thought I married was gone. In her place was a woman who not only betrayed me but enjoyed spitting in my face while she did it. That night, I sat in the dark after she went upstairs, my fists clenched so hard my nails dug into my palms. I'm a man everyone sees as unshakable. Big Max. The Rock, the giant. But in that moment, I felt smaller than I'd ever been in my life. Her words looped in my head. You're too much, Max. You love the attention. Richard makes me feel delicate. I'd fought tooth and nail for years to prove to her that she was all I wanted. I ignored every woman who threw herself at me, even when some threatened my job if I didn't give in. I thought my loyalty meant something. But to her, it was never enough. I started looking at myself differently. Every time I passed a mirror, I didn't see the strong, admired coach everyone else saw. I saw a fool. A man who gave everything to a woman who mocked him behind his back. I called my sister, Jenna, just to hear a sane voice. I didn't tell her everything, but she could tell something was wrong. Max, you sound broken. What did she do? I choked up and couldn't even say it. That silence said more than words. Even my parents noticed. My mom, bless her, touched my hand one night at Sunday dinner and said, "You've lost your laugh, Max, don't let her take that from you." But it was already gone. I felt humiliated, not just as a husband, but as a man. The whispers at the club grew louder. People were starting to notice Richard's smug grin, Emily's glow. The great Big Max reduced to a joke. And while the shame ate me alive, something else started simmering underneath. Because if she thought she could break me down into nothing, she hadn't met the side of me that fights back. I thought maybe, it was just Richard. A betrayal big enough to crush me, sure, but still a single wound. Something I could make sense of. But then I dug deeper. One evening, while Emily was in the shower, I opened her phone. She'd grown cocky, stopped bothering to hide things. And that's when I saw it. Richard wasn't the only name in her messages. There were others. One was Greg, another club member. Another was Tyler, a wealthy client's son who just started training with us. Their messages weren't innocent. They were graphic. Flirty selfies late night. "Can't wait for you again." Texts, and worse, photos of her in lingerie I'd never seen. And the things she wrote. "Max thinks I'm at yoga. I'm counting the minutes until you're inside me again. It's kind of thrilling, being Big Max's wife and sneaking around with you." It wasn't just betrayal. It was mockery. My name, my reputation, turned into her private little kink while she spread herself around like a prize. I sat there shaking, scrolling through months of proof. Every book club, every girls' night, every time she told me she was too tired for intimacy, she was giving herself to someone else. When she came out of the shower and saw me with her phone, she didn't even flinch. She just sighed, grabbed a towel for her hair, and said, "So now you know. What, you thought you could be Big Max, adored by everyone, and I'd just sit at home waiting? I needed more than a circus act of a husband." That's when it hit me. It wasn't just betrayal. It was contempt. She never loved Big Max. She loved tearing him down. I couldn't carry it alone anymore. It was eating me alive, the lies, the humiliation, the sheer mockery of it all. So I told my family. I invited my sister Jenna and my younger brother Kyle over one night. I poured them drinks, sat them down, and handed them Emily's phone. "Scroll," I said. My voice cracked when I said it. Their eyes widened as they flipped through the messages. Jenna gasped and covered her mouth. Kyle muttered, "Holy shit, Max! She's with half the damn club." I nodded. My throat was tight, but I forced the words out. And all this time, I stayed loyal. Women threatened to ruin me if I didn't give them what they wanted. I said no every time because I thought I had someone worth saying no for. Jenna reached across the table and grabbed my hand. "She's not worth it, Max. She never was if she could do this to you." Kyle shook his head, furious. "And Richard? That smug bastard's been smirking at you for months. Now it makes sense." The next day, word reached my parents. My dad, old school, hard as nails, called me. His voice was low, steady, but I could hear the anger trembling in it. "Son, you didn't fail her. She failed you. Don't you dare wear her shame like it's yours." My mom cried. "You gave her everything, Max. She turned it into dirt. Please don't let this destroy you." Their support helped, but the humiliation didn't vanish. It lingered. Because while my family knew the truth, soon everyone else at the club would too. And if Emily wanted to make Big Max a punchline, then she was about to find out what happens when the joke flips back on her. It didn't take long for the whispers to start. Clubs like ours thrive on gossip, and Emily made sure there was plenty to feed the vultures. I'd walk into the training hall and feel eyes burning into me. Men smirking, women whispering. A couple of the younger athletes even snickered when they thought I couldn't hear. One afternoon, I caught two members' wives by the juice bar, giggling. "Can you believe it? Big Max, with women throwing themselves at him, and his little wife is sneaking around with Richard." Another time, a colleague clapped me on the back and said, "Tough break, Max. Guess even giants can't keep their women satisfied, huh?" He laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world. And Emily? She loved it. She'd show up at the club in tight dresses, hair perfectly done, smirking like the cat that caught the canary. She'd brush past Richard or Greg in plain sight, letting their hands linger just a little too long. She wanted me to see. Wanted me to feel it. At home, she doubled down on the cruelty. "You should hear the way Richard talks about you," she'd sneer. "Big Max, all muscles, no spark. You're more mascot than man." Every word was a dagger. I'd look in the mirror and see the man everyone used to respect, tall, strong, commanding. But inside? I felt like a hollow clown. A walking joke with a wife who couldn't stop reminding him he wasn't enough. But humiliation has a way of boiling into something else. And while she thought she was breaking me down, all she was really doing was lighting the fire I'd been too afraid to unleash. Because if Emily wanted a spectacle, I was about to give her one she'd never forget. Those weeks were the darkest of my life. I'd get home after long days at the club, and the house felt like a tomb. Emily was either gone, girls' night, or yoga, or she'd come in late smelling of cologne that wasn't mine, smirking when she saw me sitting there. I stopped eating right. Dropped nearly 20 pounds in a month, which on a frame my size looked worse than I could admit. My athletes noticed. "Coach, you okay? You look tired." I'd fake a smile and say I was fine, but I wasn't. Nights were the worst. I'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying every insult, every smirk, every whisper at the club. Her voice echoing in my head. "You're just a mascot. Richard makes me feel delicate." One night I actually punched the bathroom mirror. Stared at my bleeding knuckles and thought, how did I get here? The man everyone else wants to be, and I can't even keep my wife. The shame ate at me like acid. Jenna stopped by one evening, took one look at me, and said, "Max, you're disappearing. You're not you anymore. Don't let her do this to you." I wanted to believe her, but all I felt was hollow. It was Kyle who snapped me out of it. He found me sitting in the garage one night, lights off, drinking straight from a bottle. He grabbed it out of my hand and said, "You think she wins if you do this? You think she'll feel bad? No, Max, she'll laugh harder. You either get up and fight, or you let her bury you." That hit me like a slap. Because he was right. Emily didn't want me gone. She wanted me broken. A trophy for her collection of men she'd humiliated. And I decided then, I wasn't going to give her that. If she wanted a war, I was going to bring hell. That night in the garage, something snapped. All the tears, the sleepless nights, the humiliation, gone. What replaced it wasn't sadness. It was rage. But not the wild, sloppy kind. No. This was sharp. Cold. Focused. Emily thought she had the upper hand. She strutted around like the queen of the club, mocking me to my face, sneaking around with men who envied me, making me into a punchline. But if there's one thing I've learned as a coach, it's this: arrogance blinds people. She thought I was broken, too weak to fight back. That was her mistake. So I started collecting. I went through her phone again and copied everything: the texts, the pictures, the late-night calls. I screenshotted the one where she told Richard, "He's just a big dumb mascot. You're the one I crave." I saved the one where she told Greg, "He's so boring. I fake it every time." I even set up a little camera in the living room. Within a week, I had footage of her kissing Richard goodbye at the door, her blouse half unbuttoned. Every piece of evidence felt like fuel. Not just for me, but for the moment I'd burn her entire mask to the ground. And the best part? I knew exactly where I'd do it. The annual charity gala. The biggest night of the year at the club. Everyone would be there: the board members, the athletes, the wives who whispered about me, even the press. Emily was already talking about what dress she'd wear, bragging about how she wanted to show off Big Max like the trophy husband he is. She had no idea I was sharpening the blade. And when the night came, she wasn't going to show off her trophy. She was going to choke on the truth. Once I knew the gala would be my battlefield, I got to work. I wasn't going to walk in angry, screaming like a madman. That's what she'd expect: Big Max losing control. No. I was going to be calm. Controlled. Precise. First, I compiled everything. I organized the texts into a neat timeline, showing every lie she told me while sneaking off to Richard, Greg, and even Tyler. I saved the most damning photos: Emily in our bedroom in lingerie, sending pictures to Richard with captions like, "He has no idea." Then, the footage. Just a 30-second clip of her kissing Richard in our living room, his hand under her blouse, both of them grinning like villains. That was my nuke. I had everything backed up: USB, email, even a hard copy binder just in case. Meanwhile, I played my part at home. Smiled when she modeled dresses for me. Nodded when she bragged about how everyone will be jealous when they see us together. She thought I was crawling back to her. She thought she'd won. At the club, I kept my head down, ignored the whispers, let Richard smirk. Let them all think Big Max had been brought to his knees. Inside, I was counting down the days. Because at the gala, with the spotlights shining and every eye in the room on us, Emily wasn't going to be the sweet little wife of Big Max. She was going to be the punchline of her own cruel joke. And I was going to deliver it. The night of the gala, Emily looked like a queen. She wore a shimmering silver dress, hair pinned up, smile wide. As we walked in, she whispered, "Don't embarrass me tonight, Max. I want people to see we're the perfect couple." I almost laughed out loud. The event was everything you'd expect: champagne, tuxedos, speeches about community and sportsmanship. Emily floated around the room, clinging to my arm like I was her prized possession. Richard and Greg were there too, both with their wives, both smirking at me whenever our eyes met. When it was my turn to speak, a short presentation about the athletes' achievements, I walked up to the podium. The lights dimmed, the big screen behind me flickered on. But instead of highlight reels, my slideshow began. First slide, text from Emily to Richard. "He's out of town again. Can't wait to feel you tonight." Gasps rippled through the room. Next slide, photos. Emily in lingerie, sprawled on our bed. One caption read, "Richard, this is what Big Max doesn't get." The room went dead silent. Then the video, a 30-second clip of Emily in our living room, kissing Richard, his hands all over her. Emily shot to her feet, screaming, "Turn it off! Max, stop this right now!" But I didn't stop. The last slide appeared, a group chat screenshot between her, Greg, and Richard, where she wrote, "Being Big Max's wife is thrilling. No one would ever believe I'm screwing both of you." That broke the room. Wives gasped. Husbands cursed. Richard's wife slapped him across the face and stormed out. Greg's wife threw her drink in his lap. And Emily? She stood in the center of it all, pale, shaking, mascara running down her cheeks. I leaned into the mic, calm as stone, and said, "Ladies and gentlemen, my wife, Emily. The real star of the club." Then I walked out, leaving her to choke on the wreckage. The fallout from the gala hit like a bomb. By the next morning, half the club had seen the video on someone's phone. Gossip spread faster than wildfire. The same people who used to whisper behind my back now pointed their fingers at Emily, Richard, and Greg. Richard's wife filed for divorce immediately, and she didn't do it quietly. She let everyone know exactly why. Greg's wife followed soon after. Both men were stripped of their positions on the board within a week. And Emily? She went from floating around the club like royalty to being persona non grata. The same women who used to smile at her now turned their backs. Some even laughed openly when she walked by. She tried to spin it, of course. She cornered me in the kitchen one night, eyes wild, and hissed, "Do you feel like a big man now, Max? Ruining me? You could have forgiven me, but no, you had to put on a show." I stared at her. "Forgive you? You mocked me. You mocked us. You turned my loyalty into your kink. You don't get forgiveness, Emily. You get consequences." She broke then, crying, trying to reach for me. "Max, I was jealous. You don't know what it was like, every woman drooling over you." I just wanted to feel like I had power too. But it was too late. Her words were nothing but ashes. Within weeks, she was a ghost at the club, hiding from the stairs. Friends stopped calling. Even her own sister, Carol, told her, "You brought this on yourself." The woman who once made me the joke of the club was now the joke herself. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I stood tall again. After the gala, there was no saving it. Emily tried to pretend we could work through it, but I wasn't biting. I called my lawyer the next morning. Walking into his office with my binder of evidence felt like showing up to battle with a loaded cannon. Texts, screenshots, photos, video, all neatly arranged. He leafed through it, whistled low, and said, "Max, she doesn't stand a chance." The hearings were brutal, but only for her. She tried every trick in the book. First, the crocodile tears. "Your Honor, Max is controlling. He's obsessed with humiliating me." My lawyer slid the group chat screenshots across the table. Emily's face drained when the judge read out loud, "Being Big Max's wife is thrilling. No one would ever believe I'm screwing both of you." Then she tried gaslighting. "Those texts are out of context." The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mrs. Daniels, I think the context is very clear." By the end, the ruling came swift. I kept the house, my savings, and my standing at the club. She walked away with almost nothing but her name on the divorce papers, and even that name carried shame now. After court, she cornered me in the parking lot, mascara streaked down her cheeks. Her voice cracked as she hissed, "You think you've won? You'll regret this. You'll die alone, Max. No one wants a broken man." I looked her dead in the eye and said, "Better alone than with you." Then I walked away. 25 years of marriage, cut loose in a single sentence. And for the first time in years, I felt the weight lift off my shoulders. After the divorce, the house felt like a different world. No more fake smiles, no more perfume covering another man's scent, no more venom disguised as jokes. Just silence. And for once, silence felt good. I started focusing on me again. I hit the gym harder, not for show, but for myself. Every rep felt like I was pushing Emily's poison out of my system. Within a few months, I wasn't just Big Max again. I was stronger, sharper, healthier. I picked up hobbies I'd abandoned because she mocked them. Woodworking, grilling with my brother Kyle, even late-night fishing trips. Emily used to roll her eyes and call it boring husband stuff. Now, it gave me peace. I reconnected with old friends I'd neglected. Turns out, most of them never liked Emily anyway. They welcomed me back with open arms, beers, and laughter I hadn't heard in years. My sister Jenna talked me into traveling. We did a sibling trip to Colorado, hiking mountains I'd only ever seen in postcards. Standing at the peak, staring out at the world, I realized I hadn't thought about Emily in days. That was freedom. And at the club? The whispers died down. The same people who mocked me before now shook my hand, clapped me on the back, said, "You handled it like a man, Max." Even athletes I coached told me I inspired them, not because I was perfect, but because I got knocked down hard and still stood back up. For the first time in years, I wasn't living in defense. I was living for myself. And damn, it felt good. It's been over a year since the gala, since the night I exposed Emily and watched her whole facade crumble in front of everyone she thought admired her. And here's the thing, I don't hate her anymore. She's not worth the energy. What she did nearly broke me, yeah, but it also forced me to rebuild. I used to think being Big Max was enough. The muscles, the reputation, the admiration. But none of that mattered when the one person I trusted most was tearing me down behind closed doors. Emily thought she was punishing me by sneaking around. She thought she'd made me small. But all she did was free me. Free me from a marriage where I was adored by everyone except the woman who promised to love me. Here's what I learned, and maybe it'll help someone out there who's sitting where I was, broken, humiliated, doubting yourself. 1. Cheating isn't about you. It's about their emptiness. You can give loyalty, love, and strength, but if they're rotten inside, it'll never be enough. 2. Silence protects liars. Don't stay quiet too. Save face. Drag the truth into the light. 3. Revenge doesn't have to be messy. Sometimes the cleanest revenge is exposure, letting them choke on their own choices. 4. Rebuild for you. Find the hobbies, the friends, the trips, the peace. Take back the parts of yourself they tried to belittle. 5. You're not weak for hurting. But you're stronger than you think. Strong enough to stand again, even after the deepest cut. Emily lost everything chasing men who wanted to tear me down. I walked away with my dignity, my freedom, and a life that's finally mine. And that, in the end, is bigger than Big Max. I have many other stories. Go to my channel, subscribe so you don't lose us. Give me a thumbs up.